Miles to finish up as well. So just to give you that. Have a good night.
Can we start with confession?
Oh, do you want me to sing it?
The great Martin Taylor in the house at the Martin Taylor Guitar Retreat in the Catskills.
That's where we are.
It's been wonderful, Martin. Thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute blast.
Thank you very much, Richard. It was great. You did such a great job.
This is new for me. I've not been here before. I know you've done it here at the Full Moon Resort for a long time.
Yeah, I think this is our 6th or 7th, I think. Yeah, it's an amazing place up in the Catskills.
Right.
And it's beautiful. And we had Tony McManus with us as well, playing the Celtic music. Jim Cunningham, a friend from the wonderful guitar player from Annapolis. I want to send my best wishes to everybody there watching in Richard Smith land.
Alrighty. Tell us a Stefan Grappelli story from your Stefan Grappelli days.
All right, okay, let's think of Django was he was a kind of a deep guy. He was pretty quiet. He wasn't a wild man or anything. He was very, very serious about music. I know that if anybody, if he was with in the band, if anybody played a wrong note, he kind of took it as a personal insult.
Better have it together.
But the great thing about when I played with Stefan was I met him when I was probably about 19, I think, 19 or 20. Right. And then I started playing with him when I was 22.
Right.
And the great thing about him was he appreciated the fact that I grew up on that music, and he was quite surprised. A young lad of 22 knew all that music, but because my dad was a jazz musician, that was the music I grew up on. So he liked the way I played, and he never ever said, play this way or play that way. Yeah, it was kind of easy to play with Steph. And he was open to suggestions. I got him to play a number of things. I got him to play You Are the Sunshine of My Life.
Oh, great.
A couple of other things, a couple of Stevie Wonder things. And he was very, very open. He was a guy, he didn't really... Some people thought that Stefan didn't like talking about Django, but the truth of the matter is, he was only interested in the present moment. So if he was being interviewed and they asked him about Django and going back to the 1930s and 40s, he would say, I want to talk about what I'm doing now. He was very supportive of young musicians as well.
Great.
And I was just extremely fortunate to sit for 11 years to sit in Django's chair. It was
fantastic.
An amazing thing.
You are an official part of the Django and Stefan lineage.
It looks that way. I'm very happy to be.
Fantastic. Martin, thank you so much.
Thank you, Richard.
I've had a blast. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you. You've done a wonderful job. It's great to hear you play again.
Thank you. You too. I've had a blast. Tony McManus, the great Tony McManus, the Celtic guitar player of the world. As far as I'm concerned, you were the first guy that I saw doing some of the stuff that you're doing. The only guy still I've seen doing some of the things that you're doing. It's obviously something you grew up listening to, grew up doing, and it's in your blood.
Many of yourself included, Martin Taylor included, we grew up listening to records and houses filled with music. The only difference was probably that the guitar wasn't intrinsic to the music that I was fired by as a child, whereas you grew up inspired and kind of mentored by Chet Atkins, and Martin was surrounded by jazz musicians. The guitar already had its presence in that music. It didn't even occur to me that there was no guitar in the Chieftains.
Right. It was very fiddle-based, wasn't it?
It was fiddles and pipes. And, when I was a kid, I was just obsessed with the guitar. I just thought it was the most beautiful thing in the world. How could anyone not want to play the guitar?
Right.
And I was fired by this music, and just started playing tunes, dance tunes essentially on guitar. But having listened to that stuff for years on end and listened to it, with great passion and intensity, all the ornamentation stuff just kind of rubs off. So you end up automatically, it's like by osmosis. You end up incorporating like rolls and things from fiddle playing onto guitar.
There must have been times when you had to hunker down and get some of those ornaments in your technique. Are there times that you remember thinking, that little trill or this little turn, I'm going to really work on that now?
Well, it's funny, you ask great questions, forcing me to think about these things. It actually splits into left hand and right hand. The right hand, left hand stuff, I get confused because I'm left-handed. And I play right-handed. The left hand, I know we're the same.
Yeah.
Mark Knopfler as well. The left hand ornaments kind of came without thinking, just listening, and that's what they play, so that's what I'll play. The right hand stuff, you mentioned the trills. I play triplets with the 3 fingers. If you were flat picking a tenor banjo, which is something you'd find in Irish music, it'd be just down, up, down with the pick. It'd be down, up, down with a bow. There's different ways of doing it on accordion or flute or pipes or whatever. On guitar, 3 fingers, ring, middle, index, drum, 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 drum.
Right.
And then I kind of, my only contribution really was to come up with using the thumb nail as a flat pick on the bottom strings.
Right, I've seen that.
So the thumbnail goes both ways.
Yeah, that was amazing to me that when I saw your thumb going both ways, and no one that I knew had ever seen that before. I'm like, wow, that's so new to me.
There's 2 people I know who do something kind of similar. Martin Taylor is one. Yeah, he plays kind of walking bass lines, but with the thumb going.
Right, but it's a completely different feel.
Yeah. It's a different thing, but it's kind of the same physical movement. And
so it's a Scottish thing, is what you're saying.
Maybe.
Right.
Years ago, I was playing in Byron Bay in Australia, and Bela Fleck was at the gig, and thankfully I didn't know he was there until the gig was finished, because I'd have been quaking.
Right.
But basically the first thing out of his gub was, what are you doing with your thumb? What's going on there?
Right.
Apparently Victor Wooten does something similar on bass.
Really?
So I think, different but similar. But it's an interesting technique. It allows you to articulate these tunes in a kind of idiomatic way.
Oh, the feel is absolutely there. When you're playing that stuff, it's like that's the only way you can get that to do that and feel like that, and it just feels just like it grew there,
Yeah.
Tell us about the Full Moon Resort. Your experience at the Full Moon Resort.
Fantastic place to be. This is my 3rd time here. The 2nd time this year. I got 2 bites of the cherry this year.
Fantastic.
I came here first with Richard Thompson, pre-pandemic, and that was an amazing experience. He had like 120 students. And this whole facility is geared for high-end music retreats. That's what they do.
It's fantastic.
And it's beautifully catered. The accommodation is fantastic. And if you don't want to shell out vast amounts for the accommodation, I think there's campgrounds where you can cut back on some of the expense. But it's this facility for several months of the year. That's what happens.
Well, somebody threw their guitar in the trash. Meanwhile, I went out and got some ingredients and couldn't resist. I saw this fire and, well, there you go. Just coming out of the Catskills here, going through these little New York country towns, mom and pop stores.
I just love coming through these places on these little roads. I've never been here before. I'm on my way to Sheffield, Massachusetts here, and I'm still in upstate New York. And this is, I guess, what I might refer to as, in the nicest possible way, upstate hillbilly New York, old town. This is old country stores. These are the old towns of upstate New York, and it's kind of like the little towns you go through in the south, but they are different up here. This is where the country folks come out. I think I might have just found myself a little gig. These are my favorite parts of America. The real stuff. The mum and pop stores that are still open in the small towns. New England architecture. I love that style.
Another one of these old school classic northeastern style diners, often Greek diners.
I had to do lunch here.
These places, you can get just about anything you want. It's not going to be the very best of everything, but they'll do a really good job. And they'll serve you pretty much all night. A lot of them are open 24 hours. Some of them maybe not so much these days, but plenty of space, always welcome. A menu as thick as a Bible. Breakfast food, Italian food, steaks, Greek food, sandwiches, burgers, just about anything you want. And I'm on my way up to Sheffield in southwestern Massachusetts.
strings and things. What a beauty that is. That's Jerry Garcia.
It's a Jerry guitar.
Alembic. Dan Salomon, owner and proprietor of Northern Lights Music for 45 years.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Did you think it would last this long?
I didn't think I would last this long. It's sort of like when you ask the Beatles, they say, no, we're going to start cutting hair in a couple of years.
Right.
But, you never think it's going to last. But you just always hope it'll last.
Well, you started this right out of college.
Yeah.
It worked.
Mucho, my wife was still in school. She had a semester left. And
We graduated from college and then needed something to do, so Dan opened up a music store.
Fantastic.
Silly boy.
Oh, it's worked just gloriously. Always in the same building?
No, we bought the building in '82.
Okay.
We had 3 other locations prior to that, little tiny spots.
So you've had this for
Littleton.
40
Yeah.
years now. One of the last of the independents, last man standing.
It's true, because we're up in the mountains.
Yeah,
We're not going to get a guitar center up here, thank goodness.
I know, it's good, isn't it?
And I just started a little teaching studio and a few guitars for the students. And the rest of it sort of just blossomed.
Fantastic.
To where we
I mean,
have all
it's
these wonderful things.
it's the dream. It's
We
living the
get to have
dream.
People like you come once in a while. Which is,
Oh, look at that. Northern Lights music. Oh. I can smell the quality. Bourgeois, Dana Bourgeois. He's in this part of the country, I think,
yeah,
isn't he?
Lewiston, Maine, we're his top dealer. So.
The journey is part of the whole deal, and it's a
Sort of
beautiful
turn
drive.
around.
Oh, look at that.
Nice arch back.
Beautiful Collings.
Yeah.
Look at that. Yeah, very nice.
This was a Santa Cruz FTC. There's some Bourgeois, there's Collings, there's Loudons.
Oh, yeah. If you guys are up in Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, wherever you are, definitely worth the journey to come and see Dan right here at Northern Lights Music.
And no sales tax in New Hampshire.
Oh,
Always worth mentioning.
land of the free.
Great collection of axes. Look at the beautiful bear claw spruce on this one. Lovely figuring.
Hey, Jason.
Hey, how's it going?
Great. Thank you so much for having me. You are running the loading dock.
I am with a bunch of people. We're a nonprofit now, so I am the executive director.
How long have you been here now?
We've been doing stuff for 8 years.
Fantastic. I'm right here in Exeter, New Hampshire, about to tuck into this beautiful frittata. Looks like we got some spuds on the go thanks to Uncle Stu. There you go. Stu Aronson, thanks for having me last night.
Our pleasure.
How often do you do these house concerts?
Every time you come around.
Oh, that's it. It's just me. Well, thrilled to be here. Uncle Stu's house. I think he got that from Dan.
I am now bound for Boston, Massachusetts, and actually heading towards Plymouth.
Now look at the thickness. This is chowder and how chowder should be. And here is the Mayflower 2, which is a replica of the original Mayflower that came over in 1620. This was made in England and sailed from Plymouth to Plymouth in 1957, if I remember my Wikipedia correctly that I read about 10 minutes ago. You can look it up. Hey folks, thanks so much for watching. That's about all I got time for.
Otherwise, I'll never get it out. I'll just be editing forever. But please subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Thank you.